All right, welcome to Powered by Authenticity live recording tonight. I'm so excited to be working today with Sally Green. Sally, welcome to Powered by Authenticity.
It's exciting to be here. I'm happy to be here with you, Emily. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thanks for being here. We've gotten to know each other for probably about a year and a half now. I forgot actually to bring to the studio with me a copy of my book, but Sally was actually worked on helping me get my book published, and we're working on another two together actually. So I really appreciate it. So would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I started on this journey in 2020. And I'll just give you a quick little background. I woke up one morning and realized that I was really good at taking care of everybody else, but I was really bad at taking care of myself. And so I went on a self-care journey. And it started with, turning the TV off, watching what I ate, exercising. And one of the things I did was I started taking some online courses, and I got in a group of people, and I was offered the opportunity to be in my first collaboration book. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what a collaboration book was, but I knew I loved these people and I wanted to be part of it. And so I joined my first collaboration book, and it was 150 of these highly successful authors and business people and coaches and me. This woman from Connecticut who had a small business and no list, no experience speaking, and I I kind of jumped at the chance and I said, you know what, I'm never going to have the opportunity to be part of a group like this again. And so I got to find a way to leverage this. And so I went on Facebook and opened up the book and I found most of them and I sent them little behind the scene friend requests and said, hey, we're in the same book together. What do you have going on that I could help support you? And I started showing up at their masterminds and taking courses that they were offering. And one of the people was this woman who was running a Saturday afternoon mastermind. I joined her mastermind. I hired her to be my business coach to help me. I was like, well, everyone's a coach. I can be a coach. So I hired her to help me build a coaching business. And she was doing the publishing. She was kind of just doing it for fun on the side. And she had 2 books that she was working with. I joined those 2 books with her. So at the end of 1 year, I had 4 collaboration books under my belt. And that's how it started. And it kind of just snowballed from there.
That's amazing. It's so funny how all of that happens. And you mentioned you're in Connecticut?
I'm in Connecticut.
Whereabouts?
I'm in Shelton.
Okay. All right. Not sure where that is.
Center, Connecticut. Center, maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm about 20 minutes from Yale University.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How's your winter been?
Oh, it's cold. It's about 17 this morning.
Oh, was it really?
It's been really cold. And we had a whole bunch of snow that had all just started melting away. But yeah, it's been cold. But that's what, you live in Connecticut or you live in the Northeast, you have the seasons. I know I work with Linda now, the woman that I joined her and her and I started the publishing company together, and she's in sunny California. She's in San Diego. So it's always 70, 80 degrees and sunny where she is, She doesn't understand the temperature changes here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird today. It's like 60. Yeah. It was like 60 degrees today. It's just,
you're where?
But it's been so cold. Just outside of Buffalo. So between Buffalo and Rochester.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was weird. It started raining. Like, where'd that rain come from? Well, I can't wait to hear more about your journey. I find it so interesting, as people, kind of renew themselves almost and, find what they would love and have a passion to do. Kind of their stories are amazing. As we start to get to know you a little bit, we also like to do a little bit of an icebreaker. So if you're up for it, would you like to do a little icebreaker?
Sure.
All right. So I know, like, when I go to a restaurant, if there's one particular item on a menu, I just have to try it everywhere because I have to see how many different varieties that they can make. So do you have any type of food, like when you go somewhere new or just somewhere that you're always looking for that you want to try?
Well, being in New England and being in Connecticut, it's the pizza capital of the world, and, from
Oh.
what I hear is that we have the best pizza around, and I wouldn't know because I only eat Connecticut pizza, so but I know, I mean, having different kind, and I love all the different toppings and trying different ways to make the pizzas. I know for a
Yes.
while I was into the mashed potato and bacon pizza. It was so
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then, like, the meat loaver's pizza or just, and my husband, he just like the cheese, just cheese, nothing else on it. So, but I love just going to, the different, especially, we have a lot of Italian restaurants around here, going to different Italian
Oh.
restaurants and trying all the different pizzas.
Ah, that's amazing. Pizza sounds so good right now. Producer Ken, what's your one thing that you look for, and how are you tonight?
I'm enjoying our little bit of a warm spell. You
Yeah.
mentioned that close to 60 today. Really
Yeah.
enjoying that.
Yeah, we didn't get that down here.
You can hold on to it for us for a little bit. We got enough.
Send it, okay.
All right, what's the one thing you're ordering?
Oh, if I'm in a particular region that's known for something like on the coast, I have to dive at some type of seafood or, something that, got to try what it's known for. If not, if I walk into a restaurant that I've never been to before, I just look for the most unique way something's prepared that I would normally get.
Yeah.
Get a steak or a fish and it's stuffed with something or encrusted a particular way that you don't get anywhere else. That's usually what I'd look for.
No, that sounds good. That's delicious. I'm probably going for the wing or fried pickles. Everybody makes them so different, but they're so delicious. So we have a slight obsession with food here at the podcast, Sally.
That's fine. That's fine. It works for me.
And now I want wings.
Oh, goodness. Well, thanks for letting us indulge there for a moment. But so, I've gotten to know a little bit about what you do for Action Takers Publishing. So I would love for you to share kind of what your role is and what you do for the organization.
Yeah, well, it's kind of morphed over the years. So, we started back in 2021. Linda and I started the company. Like I said, she had been doing it already for a couple of years, but in like 5 years, she had published like 4 books. So I joined in 2021, and together, her and I just published our 40th book, together
Oh my gosh.
in just a little over 3 years. Um, so my role, I do a lot of the behind the scenes. I do a lot of the email writing, and the website design is all me. And then I work with the author. So my main uh, job is when someone joins one of these collaboration books. Now, collaboration book is where we come up with a basic theme for a book, and you have 15, 20, 30 people who all write a chapter for the book. We put the books together, we format them, we do all the editing, and then we launch the books. So my job is to work with the authors to write their stories. So if you're in one of our books and you're struggling, you don't know what to write, or you've written it and you don't know if it's any good, or you want some feedback on what you've written, or, I've had people that, we say, okay, we need a 2,000 word chapter, and they sit down and they write 10,000 words, and they need to know how to cut it out.
Yes.
Or the opposite. I had one woman, she wrote 500 words, and she's like, that's all I got. I don't have anything else. And you need 2,000. What do I do? So I hop on the call, I ask them questions. We go through, and, that's basically what I do for the company. So like I said, it's kind of changed. At first I was a lot of behind the scenes, doing the emails, doing a lot of the web stuff, and it's kind of morphed into now I'm working with the authors, and I'm doing a lot of the other stuff, and a little bit of sales and a lot of the marketing, doing the
Yeah.
marketing images and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it makes sense that, over time as the organization grows, the roles kind of change and develop and that's got to be exciting because that just is a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. Her and I have been really, we get along great. We've been doing this, like I said, for 3+ years now. And we call them our little work parties. So she'll message me, you want a work party tonight? So we'll hop on a Zoom thing, and she'll be doing her stuff and I'll be doing my stuff. And, I'll stop and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or I wrote this. Would you read this and tell me if it sounds good? And she does the same. I got to make these phone calls. Who should I speak to first? Or what should I talk to? Or if you talk to this person, what are they like? So we kind of have to coordinate everything together.
Yeah, yeah. And I can say, having started at a blank Microsoft Word document and trying to put thoughts to die, it's hard. So I'm sure, I know I appreciated being able to call you and just ask and bounce ideas off of. And that's got to be also, really kind of fun to help people find their voice to paper.
Yeah, and I know it can be daunting for a lot of people to have to sit and write, especially, they look at a blank page and it's like, okay, what do I need to write on here? But it's funny because I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was asking her questions about her chapter, and we were going through, and at the end she said, you're really good at this. And she said, you're really good. You kind of like, you made me feel like really comfortable, and I really got my ideas out. And I was like, I am. So, I think that we're our own worst critics, right? And we always think that, what we're doing is not good or not good enough. And, so it was good to hear that. And, so maybe I am a little bit good at what I do.
Yes, you are. And I know as women, it's so hard for us to be like, heck yeah, I'm good, because you don't want to sound boastful, right? But it's okay, you're good.
And that's kind of been my journey, is that whole self-care thing, right? Because it was, I always put myself last, and I blame my mother for that, because she is the most selfless. There was the most selfless person around, and everything was for everybody else and nothing was for her. And I got to the point where I was doing that to the detriment of my own health. Yeah. And I said, I need to start saying no to people. I need to start setting boundaries, and I need to start doing things that are going to make me happy and not worry about what everybody else thinks about me. And that's hard to do, especially when you have a family and when you have kids and responsibilities and a job. And, it's really hard to sometimes set those boundaries and stick to them, but it's necessary.
Yeah. And, to that point where, you mentioned your health and wellness is part of that journey. And, more and more I say there's so many parallels behind our health and who, our wellness, and our corporate careers. Like if you can get yourself and your mindset right, and a lot of that has to do with feeling good and feeling healthy and being nourished, that just plays over to your corporate career as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the things, I thought about a lot of the things that I was doing wasn't, I wasn't going to the spa and doing my nails and buying new clothes and buying new makeup. And, it was inner stuff. It was turning off the television. It was taking courses. It was reading self-help books. It was going out for walks. It was meditating and just stopping and saying, all right, what do I want my life to look like? Or what do I want to happen next? Or how does tomorrow look? And planning it out in my head before the day, and getting stuff done, a little bit at a time. And it was that inner work that really shifted anything. And when I think about now, the person that I was just 5 years ago, I'm totally different. I would never be talking on a podcast, or I had never spoken before. I had never been on camera before. And everything that I've done in the last 5 years has been tremendous. I'd never been on a plane in 26 years.
Oh my gosh.
I've been to California twice and to Las Vegas once in the last 3 years. And so I've really traveled by myself, and that was something else I had never done. So I've made a lot of growth in the last 5 years, and it hasn't been easy. It's been something that I've worked at really hard. And there have been times when I wanted to quit and I wanted to just, walk away from everything. But I was like, I can't do that to myself, and I can't do that. I need to just keep persevering. And it's that
Mhm.
it's teaching yourself how to talk to yourself a little nicer, and not being, one of our customers calls it the self-bullying, right? Your inner
Yeah.
voice, and changing that inner voice, and being your own best friend and your own best cheerleader. And sometimes it's really difficult, but you got to do what's going to make you happy, and you got to do things that are going to help to move you forward, what you believe is going to move you forward. Because you
Yeah.
could say, oh, I'm doing this and this, and I believe it's going to move you forward. And other people, especially people in your family or group of friends, might be saying, what are you doing that for? you know
Mhm.
so it's proving those naysayers wrong, and it's going after, following your heart instead of your head and what other people are telling you to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That shift from bully to cheerleader, that is, I mean, I first of all, I love the analogy, but that is, to be able to make that leap is so difficult. Like
It is.
the bully is so easy to believe. It's
Mhm.
just so easy to believe, and being able to invest in your own space enough to say, no, I'm actually okay. I'm actually going to champion for myself. That that had to be such a huge just shift of perspective. Like just putting yourself out there first.
Yeah, absolutely. And years ago, I had taken a Tony Robbins course
Yeah.
in the personal power, and that was like in the 80s. I mean, I'm dating myself, but um and that was like the whole thing was shifting your mindset, and learning how to, take a situation that you've been in, and changing it in your mind so that it doesn't bother you anymore. And I went back, I've gone back to those books that he wrote years ago, and went back to, and oh, I remember that, when I need to start doing that again. And so it's remembering the stuff that you've learned before, and hopping into that self care, and that's those self-help books, because they really do matter, and they really do help to bring you out of the funk that you're in. And I was in a spot where, I was severely depressed, and I felt like if I didn't change, that I'd get into a downward spiral, and I wouldn't be able to get out. and
Hmm.
and that's where I was in 2020. We had just, the pandemic had just hit, and it was around this time, it was March of 2020. And I was in a really bad place. And I said, if I don't do something different in my life right now, I'm going to get to the point where I'm not going to be able to dig myself out of this. And
Hmm.
so I knew I needed to do something drastic. And I just made the decision that I was going to do it. And I just went for it.
Yeah, it's so hard to get to that point though. Like it's so easy just to keep like I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do
Yeah.
it tomorrow. I think you're a great example, and someone to look up to in being able to do that, because it sounds like you allowed yourself a moment to say, okay, I just have to do this. I'm not going to be okay if I don't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I was at that point.
Yeah.
And you know it's, you hit rock bottom, and before someone can throw you a shovel and say keep digging, you gotta just dig yourself out.
Yeah. Well, you certainly have done that very well. And so I'm just curious though, what are some of the tools that you use? I'm a big one. I love being able just to go walk it or run. Producer Ken and I like to go out and do our runs. But outside of that, were there other tools that you used? You went back to the Tony Robbins books and things like that, but were there like to-do lists that you set yourself up, or mini goals, or anything of those type of tools that you kind of used every day?
um I think the big thing was turning off the television, especially in
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
I stopped.
Yeah.
I just stopped. I said, what? I can't do this, because it's going to affect my mental. It was affecting my mental health, so turning off the television, and then taking some online courses, and just taking every day to learn something. Even
Yeah.
if it's something small, or Google something, and just learn how to. You know, I've always loved technology, and when we got the business, we got Wix for the web development. I had never used it before. I had used WordPress, and I kind of just played around. I did my church website, and so I kind of just played around with it. But every day I would learn something new on the website design, and I would learn how to do something different. And so it's just taking that time to just keep your mind active and do something different, and do things that you enjoy, and not letting the, I call them the poopy people, get you down. There's going to be poopy people in your life. There's going to be people that are put you down, or that are constantly at you to do stuff for them, and you've got to, there's just sometimes you just feel overwhelmed with everything. I was caretaker for my mom, just recently passed away, and so taking care of her, and now my dad, it was, and then trying to run a business and trying to keep house and trying to do all the stuff that you do. It's been overwhelming some days, but I just gotta just say, okay, I can get through today, and I can just do this, and this, and so, it's just living your life and being happy in who you are, and happy and living a life of gratitude. And I'm a Christian, and so I meditate and pray a lot, and that's gotten me through. And I say, you know what, I wouldn't have gotten through half of this stuff if I didn't have my prayer life. And that's been my rock. So
it's funny that I went to church today, and I happen to love my pastor. She's amazing, and we were talking about how heavy the world feels. You turn on the TV and it just feels heavy, and everything's just been so drastic. And we're like, she's like, turn it off. And it is magical. It's a way to be able to, because it just like there's so much negativity, and that negativity it breeds so fast. But if you can just say stop, it's kind of like the same thing with people, No, I'm sorry.
No. And getting the toxic people out of your life too. There are people that just suck your energy and suck your time. And being able to step away from them, that's what kind of COVID kind of took care of a lot of that. So,
that's true.
I with you. It's COVID season.
I'm sorry, not today, COVID. I might still use that sometimes.
Exactly.
No, but you're okay. So I love that, and I don't know. Do you know who Andy Frisella is? Have you ever heard of him?
I don't think
One of his. He's in the supplement for First Form, right? Ken, supplement.
Yeah, First Form.
Yeah, and his big thing is every day, turn off the TV and go read like 10 pages of a book that's going to drive you to learn something. Don't read fiction, just go read something that's going to help you learn. And I love how that's how you were taking day by day, as well as turning off the noise and turning your brain on and just learning and absorbing something. Even like website design is amazing. So
yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah. And I love all the I've been a self-help guru for years, just like stopping all that stuff up. I have books. My husband's always screaming at me about the books that I have, books all over the house. And I said, I think I have a book problem, because I go to the store and I see a book and I'm like, oh, I need that one. And half the time I don't even read them, but it's just, I need to have them too.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I have a stack that I really need to get, I really want to read them. I just need to put the time aside. So, well, awesome. Well, so as you were kind of, and I love, you talked a little bit about networking, and I love to hear everybody's kind of perspective on it. So it sounds like when you were first getting into the thought of, publishing and working with Linda, that you sent Facebook messages and kind of network behind the scenes. But Any other ideas or ways that you've used networking to really help to grow your either your current career or anything that you've done in the past? Any words of wisdom for just how networking has helped you?
Yeah, and networking has been everything. It's the people that I've met through this process that have helped me to get where I am today.
Yeah.
You're not gonna do anything alone. You think that, and I've always wanted. It was funny because, before I got into the writing, I always wanted to, be in a mastermind and get into book clubs with people, and I was like, I don't know I none of my family and friends were readers, and they weren't in nobody I knew who Tony Robbins is, was a self-help or into any of those things. And I would when I started hanging out with these people or showing up in these Zoom rooms, and they were all into the same stuff. I was like, I'm my tribe, these are my people. They're all like me. And so it was those connections and taking their courses and showing up on their masterminds and their networking events, and I flew out to California twice for networking events that other people were hosting just in the last couple of years. And the people that I've met and the connections that I've made have made a huge difference, and people that have worked with us and hired us because they've met us and they like us. So it's making that connection that's going to grow your business. Or they sending people, oh, you need your book published, go see Sally, these high
Yep.
profile people that I've met through the networking event. So it is huge. So even if it's just through Zoom, and I did
Yeah.
Zoom for, if it's not live, or Zoom meetings or online, there's a way to network and get your story out there. And the thing is that being part of these collaboration books is kind of, because each book is its own little community. So you
Mhm.
have your group of 20 or 30 people, and they're all, because they've all written a chapter, so they're all together. And then we've written 40 books and so what we do is we have networking events um, twice a month, where the authors in all of our books can get together, and we just go around and we introduce each other and tell each other and just say what we're working on. And we do that with our authors. And it's kind of just another thing that, because we want our authors we want them to do really well. We want them to, our client isn't the reader, our client is the author. And so
Yeah.
we want the authors to write their book. We want their business to grow, because we want them to say, hey, that book helped me grow my business. I want to do it again and again and again.
Yep.
And so yeah, that's kind of the way that it's worked. And that's the way that we run our business. And I know other people that have come to me and said, oh, I was in a collaboration book like 5-6 years ago, and I wrote my chapter, turned it in. I didn't even know the book was published, and I never heard from them again after I paid my money, So
Yeah.
we didn't want to be that publishing company. We wanted to
Yes.
do something a little bit different and be more personable. And
Yeah.
and I really sat down when we created this business and said, you know what, we want to be different from the competition. And that's kind of the
Yep.
way we did it.
Yeah, and I can say I've met some fantastic people that I would have never met had I not participated in the collaboration book activity. The other thing is just some, like, it's to your point, your consumer is me, the author, right? Like you want me to hire um, publishing to help grow my business. And I think it does, just by fact of credibility. And I want to just add one thing. You mentioned getting people together, and the other organizations don't know when your book's actually launched. And I can say we knew when our book was launching that day. Like it took some time to get the exact day, but we had pre-launch party, we had the launch party, we had an evening event where we were all together. We were, I personally went and bought a bottle of champagne because I thought it was fun, and just, made it into something. And the other thing was watching it go up through Amazon's #1, process. And not for nothing, but like we took out Elon Musk that day, and I just remember like, no anything to Elon, but that's he's a big name, and watching your book go above that is just it's so exhilarating, and you guys did such a great job supporting us and making sure we were aware of where we were ranked, which I think is just amazing.
Yeah, and that's our fun part. I said if we could just do that every day and just launch a book, because I mean that's Linda's sweet spot. She is be on camera talking to. I'm kind of not that. I'm not that polished yet, but that's where interviewing people and being on camera. That's her thing. So so I just love that. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are it's so fun. Well, awesome. So what do you have on the horizon? Anything fun coming up that you'd like to share?
Well, we're doing a chapter to ebook course for our authors and anybody that's written anything. So if you've written an article or whatever and you want to make an ebook out of it, we're working on that right now. That's going to be coming out in March, and then we're doing some coaching, and we're doing an academy, Authors in Action Academy, where we're going to teach the authors how to market their book beyond publishing. So we'll have every month we'll have speakers coming in, and we'll have almost like a giant networking. And it'll be a membership program where you get paid and you come twice a month, and you work with us to get your book out there and your stories out there into the world. So
that's awesome. Well, that's great. Well, I love hearing your story. It's always so interesting to me when somebody just completely pivots their career and kind of what the story is and the journey that gets them there. And I love hearing about yours. And again, I do think there's just such huge parallels and our overall well-being and where we go from a career perspective. And thank you for sharing all of that with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Where can people find you, Sally?
So if you go to findsally.com, you can get all of my information. I have a children's book that I've written, and there's information on how to connect with me through social media and how to hop on a call with me if you have any questions or comments, or you want to just learn how to either write a book or just want to chat.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you being here. Producer Ken, thanks for being here tonight.
You got it.
And as always, we are very, very grateful to our community center, Go Art, here in Batavia, New York, for the use of their podcast room. It's provided to us from a grant that they received to allow growth in the arts. And podcasting is definitely becoming quite the art form out in the world. So really appreciate their help. And Ken, I think we should go find pizza. Sally's got me wanting pizza.
Pizza, I gotta have wings to go with that pizza, though. You poked the craving.
I know. Sally, I value your time, and I really appreciate you coming on to tell your story. I know that, others are going to be inspired by it, being able to recognize when you get to that point and helping to get to the other side of it, and just, hearing the tools that you used. And I know that you're going to help others out there. So I really appreciate you sharing and being vulnerable and coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, to all my listeners, thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate you. If you're a first-time listener, thank you. If you're a repeat listener, subscribe, we appreciate it. And, Sally, just thank you again for your story and sharing.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Thank you.